calling CQ. CQ, CQ, CQ. Here is Norway 7 Echo Charlie Victor calling CQ and listening.
KN6TYF.
It was a little quick for me there. It was a 6 station. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kilo November 6 Tango Yankee Fox.
All right, you're loud and clear. I just didn't grab it there. Kilo November 6 Tango Yankee Fox. I'll give you a proper report on the next over. Good afternoon. My name is Sean. That's Sierra Hotel Alpha Whiskey November. I'm up in Washington State. Over.
Yeah, real good there, Sean. You are 5 by 8 into Oakland, California today. Yeah, good to hear you. And I was listening to the prior conversation and just thinking, you know, I got my ticket here in May, and I went straight to General. And it's been a lot of fun, yeah. I love HF, and so that's kind of all I do. Back to you.
That's good. Hey, you know, it looks like we worked before there, Jonathan, and I was one of your first contacts, and it was on the 15th of May on 20 meter here, 14,283, so pretty close. So you got to be enjoying the hobby there. So tell me, man, what got you interested in amateur radio? Over.
Yeah, so it's kind of a long story, but if I had to distill it down a little bit, you know, I work in IT. I've always kind of done technology, and I grew up, you know, as a digital native, right? I had one foot in each camp. You know, I went to the library. I still had to learn the Dewey Decimal System and use a library card file to find the book I wanted, but I also had a personal computer at home. So anyways, you know, one foot in each side, and part of that fascination has always been with kind of wireless communications, and for me, for a long time, that meant data communications, you know, 2.4 gigahertz, then 5 gigahertz, machine-to-machine kind of stuff. And eventually, you know, I got into the received SDRs, like the AirSpy or SDR Play line, for about 10 years, and I was kind of doing, I guess you could call it utility DXing, you know, the NOAA weather satellites or various beeps and boops you hear across HF. So I was listening for a long time, not usually to hams, but just to, you know, shortwave stations or numbers stations or whatever it was. I tried to decode it, figure out what it was, and then during COVID, I kind of, you know, I just thought to myself, well, hey, I don't think it'd be that hard, and I frankly didn't study. And I checked around, and I realized that you could actually take your exams. They were being proctored online, so on Zoom, and that really made the barrier to entry very low. So I set up an appointment, and it took about 20 minutes, and I went straight from nothing to a general, and that was that. And since then, it's just been kind of more of the same.
All right, KN6TYF, Norway 7 Echo Charlie Victoria, returning there. Well, very good. What a cool story, especially I would stick around for the long version even. How neat it is to be playing around with starting out with a Dewey Decimal System and stuff, and then end up chasing number stations. Both are very addicting, and both you want to figure out what's at the end of the other there in the long run. Number stations, man, I'll never forget the first time I heard one of those, just scanning the bands, and then tried to figure out what they were. And then when I found out what they were, oh my goodness, it changed my life for a little bit there, to be honest with you. Hey, so you're new to the hobby and stuff. What's your favorite mode these days? CW, digital, sideband? What's your favorite mode these days? Over.
Yeah, N7 ECV, this is KN6TYF. Honestly, it's sideband, you know, HF voice, 80 through 10 really, although I generally stick 80 through 15. I've also like kind of taken a liking to screwing around with AM, just because it's a blast and there's a little bit more to learn there, you know. It's just due to the way AM works, so yeah, been having a lot of fun with that. We do digital modes a little bit, not ST8 or anything, but like Olivia or Contestia or I don't know, some of the more obscure stuff. And I've also been testing out this thing called FreeDV, which is a digital voice over HF protocol, and that's a lot of fun too. It's not super high quality, but it's very resistant to fading, and it occupies a very little bandwidth. So, yeah, just lots of cool stuff.
Very good. Yeah, I've got a little MCHF radio from back when that had the FreeDV built in, but not too many people are going to jump, or we're jumping on it. I think they're going to jump on it real soon here when conditions get so wild that we're complaining about no room rather than nobody on the air. Fine business on the digital obscure modes, man. I like Hellscriber, and boy, try getting somebody to even figure out what mode that is anymore, let alone Olivia and even PSK31. That only exists because it reports all the other digital modes there on that PSK31.org. Hi. Hey, you know, AM was one of the first contacts I ever made with a group of friends. They were on AM, and the round robin kind of communication and the information they share. And then, of course, those AMers, man, they take at least a 10 to 15 minute transmission there, or longer sometimes, just because they can, right? But I did get hooked on that net style and round robin style of communique those guys presented there. So AM's pretty fun and nice to hear it's alive. I think you're going to have a heck of a good time with that FreeDV later on, like I say, as conditions go and stuff. Hey, so being the future of amateur radio, man, to you, what is the future of amateur radio? Go ahead.
Yeah, great questions, by the way. I think if well, they are both positive. I see positives and negatives, right? I think on one hand, the future of amateur radio is going to be a lot of fox hunting. And I don't mean fox hunting like, oh, I'm going to go find this transmitter that was intentionally placed here. I mean, oh my God, I have a 30 over S9 noise level. I'm going to have to go figure out what this is. So I think that's going to be a lot of it. You know, the spectrum is under assault from all sides, commercial, residential, even other amateurs sometimes. So I think that's going to play a big part in where the hobby goes. Beyond that, I think we're going to see increasing adoption of, these knobless radios, if you want to put it that way. Just the performance level is so great, and there are so many more possibilities. You know, amateur TV, other wideband, high-speed modes. In the California Bay Area, we have a network called Arden. Up in Seattle, you guys have something similar as well. It's point-to-point microwave links that serve as a mesh network. I think there's a lot of potential there. But honestly, I think we will see further innovation with modes, right? There's so much space left here. Like, FreeDV is just one person's open source experiment with digital voice on HF, and I think there's imagine a world where you have a conversation with someone, and when you want to change frequencies, you see a list of all the frequencies in use and the stations on them, and maybe some text or other multimedia being transmitted there. So yeah, I don't know, lots of possibilities.
Wow. That's the most intellectual answer to that question I've gotten in a long time, and it made so much sense. You're right. That's going to be the way it goes, probably, and more out of necessity for the bands as they get better, and that's not going to last forever too. But I think it'd be pretty neat to be able to have that type of free space, maybe even cut the bandwidth in half and give even more room as things improve. I really see conditions improving and really us being able to being more prone to gripe about no space to talk anyway. I even saw a 10-meter full from one end to the other, and I've never seen that in 20-plus years of being a ham. So it's about to be pretty wild. And what insight there to really be looking at just modes in general and how people are going to start to be able to, because we can, take advantage and create their own stuff that way too. I see where you're going with the knobless radios and the fast scan television and just the use of the radio spectrum out there. I'll tell you something else that was intriguing, really, that you mentioned, Jonathan, was the idea of having to track down noise. Boy, it almost seems like anything that was regulating well-produced power supplies and even our washing machine, I can only imagine how loud of a signal that washing machine is actually putting out amongst the whole neighborhood, right? And then everybody else's stuff. We just finally got rid of the microwave internet here and switched to broadband. And boy, just the power supply for his little transceiver up there it threw birdies across 20-meter and 40-meter, and just plugging it in was an annoyance, but it's long gone now. Anyhow, well, I appreciate your patience with me and chatting with me there, Jonathan. Over.
Yeah. No patience required. It was a great QSO. Yeah, I really enjoy it, and keep asking good questions like that, because a lot of people don't. And it's kind of an art, and that is one thing I'm a little concerned about, is that I think the number of hams maybe is going up, right? We see increased number of applications with the FCC and license grants, frankly, over time. That number definitely has gone up, but it seems that the number of operators on HF is going down sometimes. And I will say, during the contest the other day, I don't really do contests, but I did see, just like you said, 10 meters lit up like a Christmas tree, also 15, also 40. I feel like half of these operators must just not use their stations unless it's like a really big contest. I heard Africa, Asia, China, every continent, really. And I'm like, where are all these people normally? Like, I don't have China in my log, or Africa, but that's okay. I think it'll come with time, and as the population, of amateurs ages, right, and younger folks come in, those folks have different perspectives on technology. People younger than me. I said I'm a digital native. I'm not really, because I have one foot in each camp. But think about somebody born in the year 2000. They're 22 years old now. They didn't ever see a world without all of human knowledge available at their fingertips. So it's a very different way of interacting with your environment and with your society. I don't know. I hope we kind of recenter, find our center again, because there is some joy in the technical art that I think is getting lost a little bit. But we'll see. And great to talk to you there, Sean, and I'll send it back to you. This is Kilo November 6, Tango Yankee Fox.
Very fine business. N7 ECV returning. Wow. Yeah, I appreciate that coming from a new ham. You stunned me there for a moment. I don't know how to put it, man. It's like anything else in the world. We're going to get out of it what we put into it. I train police canine and other dog, even pet dogs out here. And, if there's a pet dog that comes to me with a problem, or even when a handler comes to me with a problem, it's hardly ever the dog. It's usually the handler. And I think if we just kind of approach just the simple fact and art of communication again, where I don't know you from Adam, and vice versa. And I don't have to go looking up for any information about you if I can at least be human enough to sit here and say hello and communicate. And I think as hams, we at least should play some part in keeping that part of society alive. Maybe I'm wrong, but then again, maybe I'm not. Have a good afternoon, man. It's been a pleasure chatting with you and taking the time to learn about you. Welcome to the hobby, and I hope you have a good time with it. And I hope you are one of the leaders in the world when you start pressing into new digital modes. And boy, oh boy, man, why not even press free DV? Do you have a website there that you can share with how, or even tell us how in the heck a guy like me with a 7300, I'm digital modes now. How would a guy get away with getting DV into a radio that doesn't have it built in? And I wanted to mention one more thing after you answer that question, Jonathan. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, you the same way you'd work a digital mode like FT8 or Hellschreiber or Olivia, free DV is almost the same. The only difference is that you need your microphone and speaker connected to your PC rather than your transceiver. But other than that, it's just like setting up FL Digi. Maybe I'll send you a little email about it. And talking about new digital modes, if you're on a 7300 and you set your span to 1K and you're seeing me strong enough, I'll send you some pictures onto your waterfall after your next over.
That's cool stuff. Yeah, I'd have to bring my waterfall and get ready for that in just a moment there. I wanted to mention something, man. You hit an idea and a point about the bands being active or not, and not hearing people or only hearing people in contests and stuff. So I'm a QRP guy, man. I'm normally 10 watts or less everywhere I go. I'm doing contests at 5 watts or less, and I'm having fun portable or just sitting in the shack running 5 watts, 10 watts. My point being, though, I do a lot of, I check the bands, right, with FT8. So I'm a digital nerd. I'm one of the last OMs to jump on the FT8 crack line. But anyway, I enjoy it to an extent. My point being, at 10 watts, I'll make 3 transmissions, and my ham clock will pop up who's heard me, right? Like it's a representation of PSK reporter. And I have been heard around the world. Conditions don't even have to be that great, but I have a visual representation. Well, let's see, on 20 meter, well, earlier, let's say I had 278 stations spot me at 10 watts, right? So out of 278 stations, I made 3 contacts. And that's the part. So everybody's off playing and having fun in radio. I get that part, but I think there is more people, more radios that are just tuned to listen and that are just throwing up reports, and those radios are just in a dark room. Nobody ever comes to hang out with them anymore. So I can sympathize where you're feeling, there's stations out there and the conditions are right and nothing's there. I get visual reports every day in my shack of what the bands are doing. I run from 6 meter on up, sometimes 2 meter too, or on down. And wherever the bands are really good, even by the maps and stuff, by propagation and by my transmissions, they're golden. There's hundreds of stations that have heard me at one time, right? And then you call CQ, and I've gone for hours. So it's a very strange variable there. Jonathan, over?
Yeah, it sure is. I'm going to risk a guess here that you've probably played with Whisper quite a lot, because it does just that, and you're absolutely right on 10 watts, man. On the different bands, I can be heard all around the world, and I just have, fan dipole here up in the trees about 30, 35 feet. Is it a beam? No, but the communication's working. The solar cycle is doing what the solar cycle does. So yeah, you know, QRP, haven't messed around with it yet. I would like to get one of these more portable setups. Maybe this X6100 or an IC705 or something, and go work a mountaintop. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, if you zoom in your waterfall there, 1K span, and let me know, I'll send you something just underneath us.
I don't know if I know how to zoom this in any better. Let me look at it here real quick, man. You stumped the OM, hi.
Is that a 7300?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Just get into center on frequency?
So be in center mode and then click the span button until it says 1K in the, on the span.
I'm going to have to set something up. I'm at 2.5.
Okay, that might work. Just, I'm going to go off frequency real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, man, I remember stuff like this from digital slow scan. It'd be really neat to capture that. Thank you.
KN6TYF. Maybe that came in, maybe it didn't.
It did, but could I get you to do it one more time, man? I was looking down.
All right, yeah, I'll do it one more time. Here it goes. Okay.
That is the coolest thing I've seen in ham radio in a while, man. That's cooler than some of the digital slow scan transmission. What mode would that be identified as?
I guess you could call it OFDM, but it's kind of a homebrew thing.
Are you serious? That's cool. Well, that answers the question of what's the future of ham radio there, Jonathan. Thank you.
That's what I was saying. Imagine you're talking to someone, and on the other side, you're just seeing some text scroll by or some pictures, you know?
Yeah, and that's incorporating digital modes into what we already have and know, and then that right there is how you're going to attract new hams. Keep it up, okay, man?
Yeah, you bet. I'm going to say 7-3s and good chatting with you, and I'll catch you around. KN6TYF with November 7 Echo Charlie Victor.
Yeah, this is the QSO of the day, if not the year. That was really cool, man. Thank you for your patience with me. Have a great afternoon. This is November 7 Echo Charlie Victor. I'm going to go QRT 7-3, Jonathan.
73s.